The college football postseason, also known as the never-ending experiment because we cannot decide on a concrete format. Back in the ancient days of the Bowl Alliance, it wasn't conclusive enough to crown a champion just on polls. So then we switched to the BCS era where we had a national championship. But wait, not everyone's included. We can't do that. Then we go to the 14 playoff. Oh, right, this is all going to stop. But no, we have teams like Florida State being left out. We want more money as college football. We want more games. We want more teams in. Let's move to the 12 team where we have automatic bids and it's going to be happily ever after. But no, because in the inaugural season of this new format in 2024, only through 2 rounds, there are some massive glaring issues. It doesn't take much to hear about this because you go on national TV, ESPN, Fox, guys getting paid millions of dollars to talk this, they're complaining. You go on social media, you go in the Twitter, Reddit sphere, you see the same thing, and even your neighbor down the street and probably your grandma is still upset about the 12-team playoff. And me being a longtime member of the YouTube CFB sphere, it is time to break my silence. I'm gonna shut something down real quick. Remember the first round of the playoff about 10 days ago where SMU got blown out, Tennessee got jumped on the road, Indiana didn't look like they should have been there, and Clemson couldn't hang around with Texas? The first thought was SMU shouldn't have been in the field. Imagine Bama in that game, or Miami with their exciting offense, or even Ole Miss. We saw Lane Kiffin sending out those tweets. Look how those teams fared in their bowl games. Alabama, that same team that lost to Michigan, Jalen Milroe, what were you doing to your draft stock? Are you kidding me? And I get it, there's opt-outs. Cam Moore didn't play the second half of the game, for Christ's sake, against Iowa State, but come on now, this is not the real issue. If we're using that same logic, Ohio State beat Oregon by 20. They put up 34 in the first half. Should Oregon have been left out? Should Ole Miss have been in that game instead? Oregon going 13-0, winning the Big Ten? Yeah, I don't think they should have made it. That's the same exact logic that you people are using. The real issue is the damn seeding. It is absolutely disgusting. And no, I'm not going to be your old broken record complaining just because Oregon, the #1 team, had to face possibly the best team in the playoffs in 7 out of the first 8 games in the 2024 12-team playoff. The betting favorites won it. And that's not what we expected during the inception of this bracket. The whole point of this bracket was to play more games, have them be competitive, and ultimately drive up revenue for the sport. That's why they did this in the first place. And what did we get as fans for the most part? Shit. Absolute dog shit. And the first round buys, do not even get me started. All of those teams lost, and it is not a coincidence. 25 days off. That's the amount of time these teams had to go from their conference championship to the quarterfinals. Now, this has always been a problem in college sports. We don't want to wait a month for the bowls, but at least it's an even playing field in one matchup. But teams having the first round, time to gain momentum, time to get their feet wet while the other team's sitting, it's like starting a season all over again in that game, and it's not a coincidence why they all came out slow for the most part. And you might say they came out slow because they just weren't that good. Really? ASU took that game to double overtime. It was clear they could play with Texas. Boise State even did a good job making it close. It was 17-14 for most of the game. On paper, this seems great. More time to get guys healthy, more time to craft a game plan, study the other teams that you're possibly going to be playing. But this is football, the most intricate sport where every moving part matters, and you can't just sit ass on hands for weeks at a time and expect to come out and win a game. Automatic qualifiers for conference champions also seem great because every conference in college football 2024 is equal. Awesome idea. Thank you, commissioners, for that. Thank you, Big 12 commissioner. This format is so bad, they're going to make changes for 2025. But here, in my eyes, is what it should look like. College football does not want to take a step back. They don't want to go from 12 teams to 8 teams to 4 teams. They don't want to downsize. If anything, they want to get bigger. They want to go to 14. I don't like 14 because, again, bye weeks need to go. So we're going to make a bracket of 16 teams. Any one champion from the field is going to have to play 4 games. Oh no, 4 games. Players are going to get injured. But what about Ohio State this year? What about Notre Dame this year? What about Penn State this year? What about Texas this year? All of those teams are going to have to play 4 games. Wake up. SEC, shut up. Big Ten, shut up. we're not going to do a bracket unless we're guaranteed 3 to 4 automatic qualifiers. Stop being a baby. In this bracket, it's seeded 1 through 16 with no gimmicks, just how the playoff committee ranks it. Why shouldn't those big conferences be worried? Because every single year there are multitudes of SEC and Big Ten teams in the top 16. This year, if my field was in play, there would have been 6 from the SEC, 4 from the Big Ten. Why does there need to be gimmick automatic qualifiers? Pick the best teams. Let's say you're one of those people that's, oh, but the group of 5 needs representation. Boise State was ranked 9. They would have been in the field. Oh my gosh. Even Tulane from the American Conference could have made this field if they didn't have a disaster last 2 weeks of the season. Everybody wins. Oh no, Saturday shenanigans. The number 1 seed's gonna blow out the 16 every single time. What's that gonna do for the sport? Isn't March Madness a thing? Doesn't that happen every year in March Madness but a few? Didn't we have all blowouts this first round? It's not going to be any different. What it's going to do is create more parity in the middle of the field where it should be, with teams 5 through 12 have some great first round matchups. The 8 versus 9 would have been Indiana versus Boise State. Come on, that's fire. And it will also allow good teams who go 12-1, 13-0, win their conference championship in the regular season to be protected so they can move on and get rewarded, ultimately making college football more money because the big brands are in the big stages. Oh, it's like 1 + 2. It's like 1 + 2, bro. And still have first round games on campus. Come on now. I love college football. It pains me so much that it's not being played at the highest level, and I just want to see the sport succeed. If you enjoy this type of content, feel free to subscribe. I've been Saturday Shenanigans, your home for unfiltered college football content.